Welcome to Unlock Women with Doric Sitole
and Kanya Asosibo. We are talking money. And it is such a pleasure for us to be joined in the studio by an amazing money coach. I'm talking about Busi Selesho. Welcome, madam.
Woo! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored.
So for people who are not familiar with Busi Selesho, she's actually an internationally accredited money coach. We'll also ask her what that means and what she actually does when she's coaching on money. And she's also a money consciousness teacher, speaker who empowers individuals to have a better relationship with money, how to get out of debt, cycles, enjoying financial wellness and abundance, science of abundance. And she also teaches her clients to tap into their skill set, how to use their unused skills to make money, to take care of themselves and to impact others also in terms of their lives. She teaches her clients about the energy of money right there.
Energy of money.
Energy of money. Quotes. And how to connect with money on an emotional level, clear money blocks, allow money to flow in your life, how to get unstuck and achieve the things that you want in your life. She's an entrepreneur, the CEO of Isipo Sempilo, SHE Solutions. She's been married for 10 years and is a mother of 4. She hosts seminars and workshops. She facilitates online money courses, which can be accessed on www.busiselesho.com. How powerful is that profile?
I mean, the extent of that just shows you how much, when she talks about abundance.
Yeah.
I think just to start us off, Busi, I think that powerful line of energy of money, right? And for you to tell us your story, your journey. How has the energy of money been vibrating with you? Did you get it right from jump? How's the energy been? Is it improving over the years? Is the relationship always been a winner? How's that relationship been with you since you were young, maybe family, growing up, to the woman that you are today?
Yeah, Kanya, thank you so much for that question. And thank you so much, of course, for inviting me. I'm so blessed. I'm so excited.
As always.
You ladies are amazing.
Thank you.
And of course, the whole reason of me writing this book was because one day I had that moment of, oh my goodness, all my life I've been going through this, and money has been the one thing in my life that brought the most pain, and also that brought the most growth. And I am who I am today, and I'm helping thousands of people on a daily basis because of all that that I've went through with money. At one point in my life, I owed the banks 40 million rand.
Wow.
Wait, 40M.
Wow.
So when that happened, I knew that there was something definitely special about this. And I was 27 years old. So at 27 years, you do not have those kind of problems. People at 27 do not have the
million rand problems.
You can worry about dating. That's when you're worrying about dating problems and relationships.
And if your mom's giving you the money or dad is giving you the money, but a 40
definitely not 40
rand
million
debt to an institution or institutions for that matter.
Yeah. And I got sequestrated. I lost everything. When they say, you've seen people, go to auction houses and they find a teaspoon and another one that doesn't look like the other one. I went through that when everything gets taken away and you are left with the clothes you're wearing. So at that moment, at that day, there were 2 things that were very important to me. One was to kill myself because really, what else? I've done it all. I've got to 40M, trying to just build a legacy and trying to do what all of us want to do when we wake up in the morning, go and make a living for ourselves and our kids and our families. And I felt like I'd failed dismally. And the other thing was to say, I felt the most calmest knowing that at that moment, I did not anymore have to worry about the 40 million that I was owing people because they had come and taken everything.
Yeah.
And at that point, I didn't have to worry about who am I owing now.
Sure.
Wow.
Doric, I don't know about you, but for me, it resonates, that point to say, at her very worst and lowest.
The lowest.
That's also when she was the most free.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think it goes back to that energy that we speak of, right? And where that connection and how you, I don't know, is the energy a choice or is energy just what you are
It comes along
vibrating,
based
you
on
know?
circumstances.
You know,
how does it work?
How that works. So all of this is happening for you, Busi. All of this is happening. You are 27. I think if either one of us here reflect at 27, I mean, Dark mentioned you're thinking your crush has broken your heart.
Yes, now I was thinking about
You
dating
know,
at that time. I
you're
wasn't
still
worried about
imagining, you know,
bank
anything,
accounts.
you know, anything 40 is far from you because
Yeah.
that's old age, you're retiring. At this point, how did you decide that you were not turning left and you're turning right? So you said that for you, it got as heavy as you considering the thought of ending your own life. What was the thing that then shifted that from turning left and making that decision to making a different decision?
Yeah. I think at that point, the most important thing was that, you know, how I got to the 40 million was not a one-day thing. So it was one business after the next, failing, and then you pick yourself up. And of course, remember at first I had a corporate job. And when I left it, everyone said, Busi, you're in IT, you earn a lot of good money. You are young. Why are you leaving a job that is so good? And I said, no, this is not me. I'm depressed here. I don't know what I'm doing here. I can feel every day when I'm here. I wish for the next leave day, this next sick day. I was the one who...
You're looking forward to Friday.
I was submitting them like
Friday.
nobody's business. I will finish all my sick leaves and all my leave days before anything happened.
You're an HR specialist. You knew
HR
how to
did
leave
not
out.
love me. I knew exactly if I take work off on a Tuesday, I didn't have to bring the doctor's letter. But that's how much I didn't want to be there. And I kept having to go, and everyone was saying, but you cannot do that. Nobody does that. Nobody leaves a good job. So when I did leave it, I was just literally doing it for mental health purposes. I mean, my mother passed from depression. 2 of my brothers had the same problem. I knew I was going to go down that route. So I was very young. I was only 3 years in the corporate space, and I left my job and I didn't know anything about anything. There wasn't anything that I was planning on, but I just knew that I needed to be out of here. And of course, the first thing was entrepreneurship. So I went on to that. But then again, my family members have never been into entrepreneurship. Nobody I know personally was that. And I just thought, well, I've had people talk about it. I've read books. They said entrepreneurship works. So I felt like that was the thing, but I wasn't sure again. And everybody wasn't giving me that
guidance.
They were talking from their own place of knowing life, and they were giving me so many examples of people who have failed, you know,
Case studies of
how bad things go. And I remember my sisters who loved me the most said to me, any day you are hungry, we are here. And I was like, thank you.
Love it for you.
Thank you for that, because they knew that I was gonna be hungry, and they were willing to take care of me for that.
Wow. Wow.
But then that was the start of all of this. And then I went from one business to the next. I've done everything under the sun probably. And then trying to look like I was making it, trying to prove a point to everybody that I remember I left a corporate job. You think you are special? We are all suffering here. You think you are just going to walk out of this?
Wow.
So I know I was trying so hard to keep up the look, and things were falling apart every day, but I just had to keep them up. So that moment when everything fell apart, I knew that I didn't have to look like. I remember when all of that happened, I went and bought these old Mercedes, these old ones that
Vintage.
look like, yeah.
Classic. Thank you, vintage.
Yes, because that's all I could afford at that moment. And I remember because every car was taken, every house was repossessed. I mean, then I remember the pastor at that time that I had, he said, oh my goodness, the mighty has fallen. Busi is driving. My father was once rich. And I didn't know the car was
Is that what
in
they
your
told you?
face?
Yeah, like it was a nice joke, I guess. I mean,
My father was once rich.
My father was once rich. That's why the car is called.
I got stuck at how the mighty have fallen. What?
No, I mean, I did give the mighty vibes then.
Okay. All right. Okay. Says a lot.
Because I was the person that everybody was like, oh my goodness, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done that?
Okay.
So, because believed that I can. And I was too young for that stuff. I was too young for making all those moves. I mean, I owned a property business. I owned trucks. I did so much.
Yeah.
Do you feel you were too young or you were immature?
Well, when I look at it from internal, I lost my parents at 6. And on grade 1, I was selling peanuts to buy myself shoes. So I took care of myself from the first day I said hello to a teacher at school. So think of it, grade 0, that is having to think about buying her own shoes. So that is when this whole entire thing started. So when I was 27, it felt like I was almost 55.
For me, I think just as you're talking, going back to your background, because you do touch on money trauma.
Yeah.
And people having to go through a process of healing.
Yeah.
So how do you think your background had an impact on how you viewed money?
Oh, that is exactly what I was saying, that I was working with what the world was saying. I mean, one of the things I remember when I had my first job was that we were told that if you don't have debt, you are not living. You must owe someone, like a TV somewhere, like a room divide.
Wow.
That is what I went into life thinking. That's what I was taught. You must have debt to show that you are here. You must owe. And
You've arrived with that.
Yeah, like when they say approve what credit, what number, you get. That was an achievement from where I come from. So the first debt that I went and bought my sister a television set, these big screens.
Yeah.
That was 3,000 rand. I went and put it at a shop. You know that uncle is your shop, that one. Yes, I went and bought it on credit when I was earning. My first job was so amazing. I was earning a whole 8,000 rand. I could afford to buy that TV cash, but then I needed to have debt. Debt that I thought I was arriving.
Yeah.
So that is how I was dealing with this whole money thing, from those beliefs.
Wow. And I think
it started very badly.
And no, really, we're shocked that people used to celebrate debt. People are trying to get out of debt. But
no. We were taught it's an important thing for your life.
But it says a lot about how society has a big role to play in terms of our own consciousness. How we perceive things. Because literally, from your story, we don't need another case study on this. Not at all.
No. We're done.
We don't need another one.
Class is no
We're
longer
done for the day. We're done for the day. But also, you touch on the history. I mean, going to the title of the book, Money and Black People. Could be money and another race. Why did you feel the need to zoom in?
I mean, I've gotten
to this race, taking history and the context that you have in this book. Yeah,
I've gotten a lot of beatings for that, of course.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't nice of me. But then, of course, because I do feel that a lot of the things that I could have done better, quicker, faster, was because I was not a certain race. And for me, with the race I had, the gender I had, even the age I had, was not acceptable. So now, when you do look a certain type, when you don't have a certain type of education, you are going to go through things that community goes through, either you like it or not.
Sure.
Wow.
So there are things that will apply to you just because you're Black. You like it or not, they will apply to you. So I had to deal with those things either I wanted or not. And those are the biggest stumbling blocks that were in my way. Now, once I had learned that these could be turned into positives, that is the only time I got to find a way out of it. Because of course, I'm still Black, but I did find a way out. I'm still a woman. I did find a way out. So I wanted to have that title so that the person who's going through these challenges because of who they've been told they are, to know that it's not about you are Black or white. It's not about you are a woman or a man. All of us get the same energy when we are born. We all get the same opportunity. It doesn't matter where you are born from. But we have those things that will affect us because of what the world says we are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sure. Yeah, I know. It's just Just jams on jams and
Jams
jams.
and
And
jams
you did
and
say
jams.
this. You did say this.
No, I did warn you.
You did. No, you did. No, to be fair, you did. Now,
did warn you.
mina Busi, ngifuna sikhulumela about money and women. I would like to know how much, when you're dealing with it, how many of if any of these things, the honesty with self, the honesty with friends, family, partners, how honest are we as women?
Yeah, so coming to the topic of money and women, women look at money as security and men look at money as an achievement.
Wow.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
Drop the mic. Please say that again. Say that again for the kids at the back.
So women look at it as security, men look at it as an achievement.
Please explain.
So when you look at things that are about security, they are very emotional to you. You think of your door, you think of what could happen if this door is not here. You think the worst when it comes to money as a woman. Men think the more I can have, the more people can know who I am. So they are always excited about making money. That's why normally men make more money than women. Now, if you go and check the stats, it says that at retirement age, only 2% of women retire rich. The rest, they're just happy my kids went to school. They're just happy this happened. But men retire rich because men put in excitement when it comes to making money. And that's why they feel good about giving it to the kids and the women and all of that. That says I've achieved something. On the other side, women looks at it, if I don't have money, my kids are going to be hungry. If I don't have money, my kids are not going to go to school. Men never think of that. Now,
Sure.
I work with men and women on a daily basis every day. When I'm talking to a guy, the energy is totally different. When I'm talking to a woman, the energy is totally different. So now we need to know how we engage with money so that we can use that as an advantage. So now women are very emotional with money. So which means that the chances of a woman running out of money are very less. Because this is my security. I will make sure ukuthi noma ngilala estradini, I've got some sort of a tent. I will make sure even wherever I am that I've got a little bit of security. Even if I've got like maybe, some okapi somewhere, that if something happens. I mean, well, I'm that wild. I'll definitely have an okapi.
Safety. She knows. Safety.
Well, she did give us a disclaimer when she started. So
By the way, I own a
we're
whole
keeping it
entire
there.
security company and I've got guns and all this stuff. So, I mean, definitely I will be that person. But then somebody else, you will make sure as a woman that you've got safety. So that is why you'll see that, of course, sometimes women will even go and do the most, sell the most that they are because they just want security.
Oof.
It's a very emotional thing. We'll do anything for money.
Whew. But thinking about that, I mean, if that worked for us, we wouldn't be talking about how to get the money and getting the bag.
Right?
So where do we
Because
miss
it's just
it?
an end to a means.
Yes.
Of
So where do
course,
we
it's not
miss
like
it?
you're going
Yeah.
to make any more, but you're going to feed your kids.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
so
so if I want to have abundance, can I still function
So
from
that
that?
is what I
I want to
emotional.
retire rich, guys.
Yeah.
I want to be part
Yes.
of the 2%.
So that I was saying that since we are so emotional about it, we will never run out of money. That is one thing women will never. So you were saying, when I know that I don't have the money, I will find a way to go
okay.
and make it so that I can show up at your thing and you will think I'm okay. No, I've made a plan. There are doctors who have graduated that their mother was just selling amakwinya in a street corner. She still doesn't have money. Like I said, 2% only of women in the world retire rich because she was just making means because it's an emotional security thing for us. So now if I then want to make more money, the universe says to me, whatever that I focus on, I make more of it. So I need to take the same emotion and put it there, but in a way that actually works for me. So we've got the most emotion, which means that we can make the most money. That is why when you get married, in our culture, there's a cow that comes and it dies for you to go to the next family. And people eat it at this wedding and everything amazing. But when you get into the next family, what your job is to emotionally draw all the money to this family. So you don't go out there and work for it. You draw it with your emotions. Because you won't see it in the bank, you won't write the check, but you are literally energetically drawing the money to this family. That is your job as a woman. So even if you are single or this and that, you know how to emotionally draw money that at all times you will always have something. So if you can then level up from that and say, since I know how to emotionally make money be me, how do I then make more of it?
Wait. Back it up. I was younger. Emotionally make money
Be me.
Becoming a magnet.
Emotionally make money be me.
Be me. Because everywhere I go, people will be like, Kanya, what can you do for us? What is the quotation? What is the invoice? Please just bring the invoice, mama. Don't worry about the quotation.
Don't you worry.
We need to shake her hand after this. And please rub it on.
Women can manifest the biggest of things. That is, again, if you go to and look at the studies, it shows that companies that are run by women never comes down because they emotionally know how to keep it together. The universe hears emotions. That's how we talk to God. So that is why God will never stop giving women money. It doesn't matter how. It's just that you just need to level up in making sure that you can bring in more. So when you have a woman in your midst, in anything, I always talk to women that are in the corporate spaces, and I said, the problem is that you think everybody is stepping on you. It's just you don't know your power. You need to go and sit in that boardroom and shut up, and everybody will then ask you to speak. And when you speak, you make things happen.
Ooh.
We are emotional about money. We can make way more. But if we knew who we are.
This is me.
I just literally love the fact that she didn't come here to tell us stop being emotional. Because to be honest, the narrative out there is that women are too emotional to be leading in boardrooms.
To be making money.
Yes, and I think that's why this conversation was so important. We are looking for people to come in and just highlight there's a particular skill. There's certain things you should be doing. So even if it means that I understand how to use my energy, if that's the only tip that works out for me.
Yeah.
You've saved my life because everything out there says women are just too emotional and we are twisting things around to a point where now because I was about to ask you, because where we started, I felt like, ooh, are we going to end by saying because we're too emotional, should we be behaving like men?
Yeah.
But in this instance, that's not what you're saying. So there's something in your book, and I said this to you when I saw you, and I said, whoo, something hit me hard. The chapter on the struggle, and you were going there, but talking about connecting with your higher power. Tell us about that mentality of the struggle and how that can be literally a barrier to someone understanding that, yes, I'm an emotional being, but my power lies in me understanding how to use that emotion to attract the money and abundance.
Yeah.
So we have been taught to identify with the struggle. But if you have... you are out of our understanding of you are no longer like us. You don't go into the same category as us. Now you are not relatable to us. So now we will always find a way to self-sabotage ourselves back to the struggle because the struggle is home.
You know, I think with Dorek, the way you've put it has made it because struggle is not really home. You have made struggle your home.
Struggle at home.
Because it makes sense when I'm there with everybody. Nobody can feel threatened by me. Nobody can try to pull me down there. It's a safe house.
Support group.
Yeah,
happy.
safe house.
Stay happy.
But then,
right.
We love the comfort.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think, you've said a mouthful. You really have. And I think it's only fair to say, you know, because time is always limited, right?
Yeah.
But I think with everything that you've said, right, in the moments that we've shared with you, it's just testament to say anybody needs to get themselves a copy of this.
A copy of book.
To understand money and Black people. Right. And I liked what you said earlier on when you said there's certain things that are not going to change in life just because you have some sort of emotion towards it. It's going to happen to you because it is what it is.
It is. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But you have to rise above, you know, that which you are. And I think for me personally, my take home is it's that fear. And I know that fear is the barrier to freedom. Right? Because when you fear losing things and you start doing things because that actually just keep on putting you in even worse situations, right? So my take home is when you know who you are, You can lose it all and still know that you can start from scratch.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think in chapter 10, the chapter I was talking about women and money, where you speak about women and money, you start off by saying women are creators. You know, women will always create. And I think it's actually such an oxymoron that women who are creators and can always create are the people who worry so much about the loss. But loss means you can create something new.
True.
You know, so for me, you've just, something has definitely been unlocked for me personally. Sure, Doric, sis, this one's on you.
Yeah.
It's on you.
No, I said to her, you have a part in the book that says the moment of truth. And I feel like we've just closed off with the moment of truth. A bit of enlightenment in terms of how we took in the gems from your book. I would say I would get every girl child to read this book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Black people to buy the book. But because we are for women, we want to start nurturing from the girl child, not just the women, because it starts there. If you're talking about the mindset, you're talking about socialization. If a young girl gets to understand that actually by the time I step into university, this is the energy I have. By the time I step into the workplace, this is the energy I carry. We don't have to come back and sit down and try and refine women anymore because it's happening through authors like you.
And we don't have to get hurt because
we don't have to get hurt.
We don't have to go through the trauma.
No, there's no trauma anymore.
Let's not heal. Let's just try to do it right from jump.
It's coming from a place of awareness. And I feel like that's exactly what consciousness is about. Wake up. And I think you just woke us up with your book.
I mean, of course, I was writing the book because I wanted to give back because I had gone through all of this and the light had finally come out and I was like, oh my goodness, I thought this was going to finish me and it didn't. And now here I am. I know my purpose. Here I am. My purpose came to me in the most cruel of ways, which at that time it looked like. Yeah. But here I was. My purpose was the only thing that made sense. But I needed to then give back. And I wouldn't have wrote the book. The only important thing in this book, and if you do buy it, the only important thing is the back side of the book where there's a 30-day money mindset program. That is a program that when I was in that 40 million rand debt, took me out and showed me the light. Literally, it was like the universe is holding my hand out of that because there wasn't anybody else who could really make sense to me at that time because I had lost everything. Everybody would try to say anything. It just didn't make sense anymore. And that 30-day program is what I then started doing, which was the mind now. Only the mind. I didn't have to worry about if I had another proposal out or another website done or another business card done, but I needed to fix my mind. And that was the most healing thing. It is quite emotional going through those 30 days. But when you do go through them, you finally find yourself and what you think about money.
Yeah.
Then make that connection and then start loving money and start to look at your income statement and look at your, when the bank sends you that letter that says how much money you have spent and how much money you still have and not judge yourself because wow.
Wow.
The phone calls. When Truecaller tells you.
Truecaller does the deed for you.
You just
don't
like,
answer.
Don't answer.
Yes.
And I love how people personalize it also on Truecaller. They say, spam the bank. So you run away. But I think for people who want to get copies of the book, how do they do that?
So they are available on my website, busiselesho.com, and also on my Instagram account, Busi Selesho. So we just deliver same-day delivery.
There you have it. And I got a copy for myself by the author herself. And this has been such a pleasure having you on Unlock Women, our first ever episode. And we kick it off with someone as powerful as you. And we do know that definitely there are people going to be watching this whose mindsets are going to be unlocked by just listening to the stuff that you had to say with us. Yeah. And so,
sure.
Madame?
I mean, I get a copy. And I like my copies to be autographed, guys.
Yes.
These to me are value. I love my books. Yes. But I hope for you who joined us today that you have started a conversation with self and that you can go on and start conversations with your family, with your friends, with your girls, with your children, with your partners, whoever you need to start the conversation with. I hope that you can do just that, okay? That you can do just that. And that's what this is all about. We cannot necessarily solve all the problems, but what we definitely can do is to start the conversations, because when you own the conversation, as you say, when you no longer run away from the conversation, that is when the healing starts. When healing starts, that when the growth starts, and when the growth starts, then when the success starts. We definitely hope to have unlocked something in you as a woman. And of course, we always love the support of our man.
Well, there you have it. Unlock Women Money series with Kanya Sosibo
and Doric Sitole.
And thank you to you, Busi Selesho, our guest for today, the Money Coach.
Thank you so much. Thank you.